Hello, I'm Patrick Davidson. Welcome to ReCAPS. Today's program is a tantalizing collaboration created by CAPS and the Museum of Ventura County. Our crews created a series of cooking shows called Feast or Flop. The savory local recipes are from the museum's vast archives of county cookbooks, and our hosts are Museum Collections Manager Renee Talent and the chef and owner of Mouthful Eatery, Luis Sanchez.
Welcome to the Museum of Ventura County. I'm Renee Talent, Manager of Historic Collections here at the museum, and your host for Feast or Flop. This year, we're helping celebrate Ventura County's 150 years of history with a series of cooking programs called Feast or Flop. The museum collection preserves fascinating cookbooks with personal recipes from past decades. I've selected a few dishes that have unique cultural, agricultural, and historic stories to tell, and we're going to recreate them for you to see if they are feasts or flops. Our culinary guides for our journey are Luis Sanchez, a chef and restaurant owner in Thousand Oaks, and Adam Hart, the director of the Culinary Arts program at Oxnard College. While Luis and Adam do the cooking, I'll add a bit of historic flavor to their creations. I've brought the history, and I'm relying on you for all of your cooking skills.
All right, well, wish me good luck. I kind of looked a little bit, and they are definitely interesting, and I hope you guys enjoy making them with us.
Our savory menus include lima bean loaf, avocado soup, Spanish liver, and many more. As you will discover, all of them are local dishes from Ventura County's past. So join us for Feast or Flop, tasty experiments to spice up Ventura County's 150th anniversary celebration. Today we are in Thousand Oaks, and I am joined by Chef Luis.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi. Welcome to my house.
And Chef Luis, you have a restaurant here in Thousand Oaks, right?
Yeah, I own a place called Mouthful Eatery. It's a fast casual restaurant. I opened almost 10 years ago, and it's here in the city of Thousand Oaks.
So I have brought some recipes from our museum collection that we're going to test out today. We're going to see if they work. We're going to see if we can make them. So I've brought the history, and I'm relying on you for all of your cooking skills.
All right, well, wish me good luck. I kind of looked a little bit, and they are definitely interesting, and I hope you guys enjoy making them with us.
This comes from a 1980s cookbook, so it's a little bit more modern, a little bit more recent. This cookbook was from Santa Paula, so it highlights the lemon and it highlights the avocado. So the recipes are kind of split, whether it's a lemon recipe or an avocado.
Got it.
So we are making avocado soup today.
Cool.
We started growing avocados in the 1870s, which is the same decade that Ventura County split from Santa Barbara County. So it's a really good one for us to pick for this 150th celebration of the county. So every year the Agriculture Commissioner puts out a crop report, and this year it was kind of big news because the avocado has become number 2 in the crop report. So we sell mostly strawberries and then avocados.
Avocado's number 2.
Are number 2 this year.
Go
For
avocado.
a variety of reasons, they've kind of outranked the lemon. But I'm sure next year the lemon will be back on top.
And from a restaurant point of view, avocados were cheaper this year, which was excellent. Last year we were paying like $110 for a case. This year, $40 to $50. So not bad.
Yeah.
Go Ventura County. All right, let's cook.
Exactly. Let's do it. Let's start it off.
Yeah, and this one we're not really cooking as much as I would hope for, but so we're making this recipe, which is very simple. And we're gonna start with the avocado. So we have one large avocado here, and we're gonna remove the pit. So I'm gonna get a little bit bigger of a knife. We're just gonna hit it, and then we're gonna release the pit. And then we're just gonna scoop the avocado. Since we already know it's gonna be one avocado that we're gonna put in there, we're gonna just scoop it into the blender. So we're blending things here. And then Tabasco.
And the soup, actually.
What do you think, Tabasco now? Or I would put a little now and then see where we are.
Yeah, it just says to taste, so I think we get creative license.
And I love Tabasco with certain things, and I love other hot sauces with certain things, but soups like clam chowder and Tabasco are really good. So
yeah, I lived on the Gulf Coast for a while.
All right, so yeah,
Tabasco's up my alley.
Tabasco's pretty tasty. All right, so we went with 5 dashes, and no salt yet. We're gonna check it out. This blender is also from the 80s, so wish us luck. And I still kind of want to respect, I don't know about you, but I want to respect a little bit of the texture that probably they were used to before. So it's going to be a little bit of a thicker soup. And then, what about you and I taste for salt?
Yeah, and
Yeah?
and the Tabasco. Did you
And the
think
Tabasco.
it was?
I think it needs
about
a
right?
little bit more for me, but we'll make that decision together.
I think it also needs a little bit more.
A little
but
bit more,
I don't. Yeah, I don't think it needs a ton of salt.
No, just a little bit, like
Yeah.
a pinch. And we're gonna go with a little pepper just because we're at my house.
Feels sacrilegious.
Yeah.
To not have pepper.
And then we're gonna go with maybe 3 more. 4 maybe. Cool. Then we mix it up. Good.
So this recipe gives you options. You can either serve it hot or cold.
Or cold.
I think a hot avocado is a little bit weird.
Yes, and I agree with you. I after our pre-shoot debate, I think cold is the way to go. Plus, we're in the middle of the summer now.
Yeah, and it's hot here. That's
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Ventura.
yeah.
So I think this is perfect to chill until we're ready.
Yeah, I think we can pour it. So it will easily give you probably 4 cups of soup or 2 large servings. So we're gonna go in here. We're gonna pour it. It's nice and velvety.
That's the cream of onion.
Yeah. So I think that's good. And we're gonna garnish it with it actually called for tortilla chips or strips, which is what we have here.
Which also feels like a little bit 80s to me.
Yeah, and there's multicolored ones, right?
Uh-huh.
So you're gonna just plop them in the middle.
A bright spot of color on
Yeah.
the
I think that's it.
avocado soup.
Pretty tasty.
All right, so our next recipe is the oldest recipe that we're going to be making.
Good.
This comes from an 1890s cookbook.
And it sounds like an 1890s recipe to me.
Yeah, so this is Spanish liver, and it was submitted by a woman named Mrs. A.G. de la Riva. So Mrs. A.G. de la Riva is actually Juana Maria Olivas. The Olivas family, the Olivas adobe is still around. You can still go see it. It's owned by the city of Ventura. And it was her parents' house that was built, the adobe. So her father got a Mexican land grant and started ranching in Ventura in the 1840s. And she grew up, there were 21 siblings. So
wow.
they had a giant big family. And at that time, all of California was really focused on beef production for tallow and for hides. The beef hide was nicknamed the California banknote, or like the leather dollar. And so all of California's economy at that time was based off of this hide sale. So for a recipe that the family would be eating, this was probably cooked by some of their indigenous workers. And it uses the other parts of the beef, right? If you're raising all these cows for their hides, then you have a ton of beef and a ton of livers and other parts of the animal to use up.
Yeah, this is exciting for me. I haven't had liver since I was a little kid, and that was sort of against my will. Yes.
I've never had liver. I've never had it, never tasted it. I'm
Until
going in
today,
cold. I
yes.
have no idea what it's going to taste like.
Yeah, and then this recipe too, it's just more like a quick description of what to do. So we are going to try to stick to it as much as possible. But some of it we read and we're still kind of confused. So we're hoping that it kind of comes together for our sake and your sake.
Yeah, there's no amounts listed in this recipe. It's 1890s. It's literally, the recipe is just one paragraph, and it says like fry, add potatoes, and that's about it.
And
so,
you had a hard time finding liver.
I did. So pro tip, if you're looking for liver, go to your health food store, because I could not find it in our grocery store or at some of the specialty stores, but I did find it at a health food store.
And this one's organic and grass-fed, so for
Yeah.
all of you guys out there.
Extra
Good
healthy.
to know, extra healthy. So liver has a bunch of iron in it. It's gonna have a slightly, and by slightly I mean kind of metally taste. So your first bite is going to be a new one. You know, they say it takes 10 times of trying something to like something. This might push it to 20. But then the lard and the potatoes and the onions and the jalapeno are going to help. So we haven't tasted it. I might just come back and say, oh, we love it. So we don't know yet. We'll find out soon.
I'm hoping this is a sleeper hit.
All right, for today's recipe, we have lard. And then we obviously have our liver, which was already pre-sliced for us, which probably helped. And I just patted it dry with a paper towel because we're going to be frying, sort of sauteing in fat. And then we have onions that I just sliced thinly, white onions, and then some jalapeno also I sliced thinly. And then we have potatoes that I sliced. And then we have some flour, which is sort of a, I don't know how we're going to use it. It says to just sprinkle it as you fry, which I've never in my life done, but I'm willing to take a risk for you. And then the salt and the pepper. So we're here in our frying station at the house, and we have two pans with our lard that's melted, and it's come to a temperature. I can feel a little bit of the heat in my hand. And then we're going to do two things at once. We're going to do liver action in this one right here, and then the other one's going to be potatoes, onions, and jalapeno. Wish us luck. Are you excited?
I'm ready. Liver have a smell?
Liver has a smell that's nicely coated with pork fat right now. So that's good. All right, cool. We got a little sizzle going. And at this point, I'm going to sprinkle my jalapenos. And just for presentation, I'm just going to put them on top of the potatoes.
I feel like you're just a lot faster than me. If I were to do this at home, maybe I just don't have things hot enough.
Yeah. One secret for all of you out there is you got to play with your burners, and you got to let things come up to temperature before you put stuff in.
Yeah.
Because that's going to help you. And also, when I tell people about cooking or try to inspire them to cook, it's not perfect. It's you every recipe that you make should be a little different than the last time you made it. So don't worry about exact amounts, or I have ground turkey instead of ground beef. Just go ahead and make it, you know? So at this point, I think our potatoes are probably 2/3 of the way there. And as the recipe says, we're going to put the potatoes in the same pan as the liver. Go check it out. So we're just going to let this brown maybe for 1 more minute, and then I think we're ready. So I hope you're excited.
I am. It smells delicious.
All right. So here's our Spanish liver right here.
Spanish liver.
Looking pretty good.
Looks great.
We must say, as we were cooking it, we had our doubts. We were thinking, what is the kitchen going to smell like? But
I thought the flour might just burn.
Yeah, that was good. There's maybe like, I don't know, cracklings or something that have been created with the fat and the flour that are probably tasty on its own way. And our amazing camera crew enjoyed the smells and the scents when we're making it. So now we're going to plate this and then check it out. So this is the liver part.
Nicely browned.
Nicely browned.
Doesn't look scary anymore at all.
No.
Essentially what we've made is liver and onions.
Yeah.
Just an old school version of it.
I'm sure my dad's going to watch this and say, when are you going to come over and make this? Because he's a big fan of this. Like, he requests this on special occasions, which maybe we will too.
Yeah, meat and potatoes. It feels like a classic pairing.
Yeah.
I think I'm pronouncing this right, but I'm not sure. Fatigmand.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, we'll just, someone will correct us if we're wrong, I'm sure. This is a Norwegian dessert, and it was submitted to one of our community cookbooks maybe around the 60s, 70s. That's kind of when it was submitted, but the recipe seems much older. And it is a Norwegian dessert, which is perfect because here in Thousand Oaks in the 1890s, there were 4 men who started the Norwegian colony.
Is that right?
Yeah, here in Thousand Oaks. So there's a lot of history here. And they also were in charge. So they were farmers and they were making crops and growing things. And they were trying to get their wheat to market and they needed a road to be able to do that. So they built the Norwegian grade. So they got like $60 worth of dynamite from the county and pickaxes, and they built the Norwegian grade, which is the bottom part of Moore Park Road.
Is that right?
Yeah. So if you've ever been down there,
Yeah,
that was part of this Norwegian heritage. So we're kind of celebrating
This is
Thousand
an
Oaks
homage
history.
to Norway then.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Cool.
So with that, I think we can go ahead and get started.
All right. So we have our recipe here, and we're kind of just working off the recipe, and we're trying to stay as traditional as we can with it. So it says to mix the egg yolks, which there's 6 of them. I think we're almost there, and then we have to add all the rest of the ingredients.
The cardamom is the most expensive part of this recipe for anyone who's going to make it at home.
Cool. And I think at this point, we're going to just go ahead and add all the flour. So we're going to trust our recipe.
Fattigmann literally translates to poor man's cake, poor man's cookies. I think the idea being that it's all things ingredients that you would generally have at your house. You might have flour, butter, heavy cream. So the cardamom is really the special part of the dessert.
All right, so we are there. I'm just going to wrap this up. And we're going to put it in the fridge, and then we're going to come back and roll it out. What do you think, an hour or so?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we'll give
think
it a shot. We're just testing things here. Cool.
All right, so we pulled the dough out of the refrigerator, and now it's time to roll them out.
Yeah, we're going to give it a shot. I'm going to cut it in half and see if that makes it a little bit easier. And what shape are we making again?
We're going to make diamonds. So it doesn't say how thick they need to be rolled out to, but they will get fried. So
we're just hoping that this stays together for us to roll.
The dessert was really popular for like Christmas time, so it's kind of like a specialty thing. Probably because you have to roll out dough and cut things and fry things. It's kind of a process.
So we're gonna give it a shot with what we have right now. So we're gonna cut it in diamonds, which we're gonna go this way.
Yeah, so if you cut at one row at an angle and then one row straight, you should end up with that.
So we're gonna go angle this way.
Yeah.
And maybe this thick.
Yep. That looks about the right size to me.
Cool. That's because I've never made this.
In my infinite wisdom, having never made these before, that looks like a great size to me.
So we're gonna go up straight, up straight. If you've made this before and we're just not doing it justice, share and let us know.
And also don't blame us because we're just following the recipe.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a second episode. So we're just gonna carefully get them out of here and put them on this sheet. I'm gonna add my oil to my pan. I'm covering the bottom semi-generously with oil. I'm not doing a dry saute, so there's a good amount of oil. I'm not deep frying, I'm not filling it up all the way up, but I definitely want some oil in there. And I wanna make sure that that's warm. And in between, I put our diamonds of dough, I put them in the fridge to cool right before frying, because that's kind of what I would do at the restaurant, I guess.
Yeah, this is one where, again, they don't give us a lot of direction. It just says fry in deep fat at 370 degrees for 2 to 3 minutes, and that's it.
Cool. So far, so good. And now, we're going to add our second one. Our third one. And our fourth one. Cool. I am assuming we're going to start getting some color soon. Again, I don't want to move it around too much. And I'm going to use this tool, which is called a spider, to flip it. The oil is getting a little frothy or foamy, and that tells me that some of that, the dough was still a little too crumbly. Some of it's getting lost in the oil. So definitely, if I was going to make this again, which I think I will probably double or triple the amount of liquid that went into the dough that we originally had mentioned.
Yeah.
The opposite side is going to be much faster, so we're going to start taking them out.
Looks good.
Yeah, it looks good. That's it. We're done frying. So our
Fatih Band.
yes are done. We fried them. A couple of things we noticed. And because you have a little bit more experience, I think, with this dish. It doesn't really look the way I thought it would look.
I don't
yeah.
think so either.
It feels, and we haven't tasted yet, but it feels like pie crust that's been fried, which might be delicious. But I don't know if we lost something in the translation of what cream and or I guess mainly cream or flour maybe used to be, or in the amounts maybe something was off, because it feels like it could still use probably double of the amount of fat and liquid that we put in there. So
Yeah, so now that they're hot and fresh out of the fryer, now is when we want to put the sugar on.
yeah, that helps with the sticking.
All right, we've come to the part of Feast or Flop where we actually get to taste these recipes
Yes.
to see if they are a feast or if they didn't quite work out. And we may have a few things that taste good, but didn't technically come together the way that we were expecting them to.
I think so too. But all in all, it was a very cool experience. So
Yeah.
for me as a chef, it was cool to see. I haven't followed a recipe in many years, because now you just kind of wing it, But it was exciting, and ingredients were cool. So thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to take this time too to thank you very much for participating with us.
Oh, you're welcome. Exciting. Anything that has to do with cooking, I'm always up for. So it's also a learning experience. So thank you for your knowledge.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm happy to have you as a partner on
Cool.
this.
Cool.
I think we should start with our
Start with the
avocado
soup?
soup.
All right.
Ready?
Why don't you go first?
I like the texture.
I like the texture.
So smooth,
too. Yeah.
incredibly smooth. And I really like the Tabasco. I'm sorry, I'm like going at you with my spoon. I really like the Tabasco. I think it needs that, because otherwise it doesn't have a ton of action happening.
Yeah, I love the texture too, and I think perhaps the onion soup overpowers a little bit of the avocado.
Yeah.
So maybe if I was to do this again, I would go half can of the soup and maybe 2 avocados, because you want the avocados there, but it's giving me more of a mouthfeel than actual flavor. And I'm getting a good amount of the onion soup, but all in all, pretty tasty.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I would say
Yeah.
this is also maybe not a serving size.
No, this is great. This is
There's this one where,
Yeah.
we talked about how like at weddings you get your little shot glass
Yeah,
full of soup.
that's
with
what
a
it
little
should be
thing.
like. Yeah,
Yeah, something a little quick bite, but
Yeah.
having to eat a whole bowl would be a lot.
Yeah, no, it's too much. And I would definitely just serve it in a smaller, and maybe slice some avocados on top just to highlight that part too. But
That'd be a good
tasty.
idea.
Yeah,
And
not bad.
pretty to add to the color here.
Yes.
Let's try
With
it
a
with a
little-
little texture. Keep my spoon on my half.
It definitely adds something to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it helps.
Yeah. And I think the recipe also suggested either the chips or peppers, like pimento peppers or something. So that might be like maybe some roasted peppers on top. But yeah, definitely adds something to it.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. And here is your challenge, because you've never had this before.
I have never had liver.
So this is going to be our Spanish liver that we made, and probably the recipe with the least amount of direction, right?
Right.
But it turned out pretty good. It looks restaurant quality, I can say that. And the potatoes, I'm sure, are going to be delicious. And I think lard, which is not used as much today, was very used back then. And not only because it was available, but also it adds flavor to it. So here's a little knife that we're going to share.
Thank you.
And a fork.
All right, so I'm gonna prep myself kind of like the perfect bite. So I'm gonna Ooh.
Yeah, different when
Different
you cut through it,
texture.
right? Yeah, it's not. Yeah, we're not cutting through fillet right now.
I'm gonna go
Yeah, onion. Yeah,
a
that's I'm
little
doing
crispy
exactly what you're
bit.
doing. Yeah.
Put a little here. I'll wait for you.
Yeah.
You
All
make
right,
your
cool.
bite,
I am doing the same
and
thing,
then we'll go.
but I'm gonna go also jalapeno in there, even though it's probably all flavor
gonna
with
be
the jalapeno.
There we go. Here's a little jalapeno.
And I don't know if you guys can see that, but we still attempted to keep some sort of a medium to it. We didn't want to cook it to death. So we're gonna go potato.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the onion in it. All right, cool.
All right, first bite of liver. Ready?
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to liver.
Oh,
I'm waiting.
sorry.
It's liver, but it's pretty flavorful.
I flipped mine upside down when I eat, like classic American shovel side with the fork.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing that hit my tongue was the jalapeno,
Uh-huh.
and then the onion, and then the potato, and then the more I kept chewing, then that's when I got the liver.
And
It hit
it's
me a little
definitely
bit later.
distinct, right? It's not.
I knew when I hit it. I knew the farther I was chewing that I hit it. I'm going to say not bad, not anything I've ever tasted before.
Yeah, and it's with liver is more of a because you see it and it looks like beef, but once it breaks down in your mouth, it's a little bit chalky and metally, but not bad. It's just something that it takes a few tries to be like, oh, I like this stuff.
I'm going to go for it on its own, just, to give it its shot. Yeah, and a strange texture that this tricks you into thinking you're eating beef.
Yeah.
And then the more you chew, the more it gets like a little bit, like chalky's not the right word, but like particly.
Particly, yeah, grainy.
Grainy, yeah, a little more grainy than beef is more like strings.
Yeah. And I'm sure that because I know my dad especially loves this stuff, so it's just a matter of trying it more, or just like anything else, it's not for everyone. But I would say that it's enjoyable in its own way.
I think that it would grow on you, and as a full dish with the jalapeno and the onion and the peppers, it was pretty good.
Yeah, and remember, it's good for you. Yeah.
Yeah, and a health food. So if it doesn't taste like amazing, then if it tastes anything a step up from bad, then you're winning.
Yeah, and the potatoes are awesome too. This one is going to be another one that surprisingly wasn't very. I guess the recipe wasn't really doing it for us when it came to textures of something that we're used to frying. So it was very pie dough-like, but it held together in the oil. We made a couple of little adjustments like we talked about in the video, and then we added the cardamom to the sugar to give it a little more of a kick. So please.
Yeah, I think this is one. We were giving the liver and onions a hard time for not having a lot of instructions, but this one had instructions and we still didn't quite get there.
Yeah, we just feel like they weren't either up to date to what standards of ingredients are now, or
a typo, a misprint,
Yeah.
something happened.
That's pretty good. Look, I just feel like I need a shot of espresso and then bring me the check. I'll have this again.
Me too. I don't know how it was supposed to turn out.
And I don't think it's
traditional.
No,
I don't think it's authentic. It's delicious. I think that I don't know what it's supposed to be, but whatever we've ended up with is a good product. So like even if it's not what you expect, you can still have a delightful dessert at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it feels, I don't know, almost cake-like. It's not really a donut. It's not anything I've had before. Because it's not light. But the sugar with the cardamom, I can definitely taste it in there too. So yeah, it's good, really good.
That was one of the tweaks that we made. We added cardamom into that sugar, and that is delicious. That is a good bite.
Yeah, that's tasty. I'll not only make that again, but I would order it if I ever see it on a menu.
Me too. I would too. Well, thank you so much for joining
thank
us.
you.
I really appreciate your expertise. So come visit Chef Luis at Mouthful Eatery. We're going to have all of the recipes available with this video so you can test them out at home and see how your end product compares to ours.
Yeah, let us know what you think.
Happy eating. All of the Feast or Flop recipes will be available for you to create and enjoy at home. You can see them on the museum website at venturamuseum.org, broadcast on CAPS Channel 6, and on CAPS Radio at 104.1 FM.